Friday, October 24th. I was going to go on a rant about people like leaving rage comments on Spotify against me. I don't care. Leave all the comments you want. If you don't listen or if you have name calling, leave it out. Leave it out. You know, I have never once listened to somebody's opinion. And FYI, stocks are opinions. There are facts in here. Like, for instance, Trump is in the Epstein file. That's a fact. People say that I'm woke. Maybe. But you know what the opposite of being woke is? Being asleep, douchebag. And if you're going to name call me, you're telling me you're part of the problem instead of part of being the solution. Again, I'm not going to rage about this. People seem to love it because they are the highly most rated episodes, most listened to, I should say, longest listen time. So again, do whatever you want to do, but I have never once listened to a podcast and then left a nasty comment on an opinion. A fact, I will sometimes correct somebody on a fact, but an opinion, no. We're going to go over a lot. Inflation is cooling. We will go over why you shouldn't follow me into a trade. What's a good position size? We will go over some stocks that were up. Plus, I'm going to give you a bonus at the end. Use the AI tools that you have. I use Sidekick to find me a strategy in Trendspider. I first used Perplexity, and then I'm going to give you a GOOG AI tool. You can use whichever AI you want, but I am going to give you absolute 100% examples of setting up a watch list the way that you want, setting up a strategy the way that you want. But let's look at the markets. The markets are up slightly, again, a little bit. Why? Consumer Price Index. We finally got a delayed September CPI. This is the Fed's favorite inflation gauge. And it shows inflation is going down. So let me summarize this week for you. Okay? And you don't need to listen to headlines. We talked about earnings. They're going well. We talked about the economy. It's doing well. Inflation's coming down. You know, government workers are still shut down. They're not getting paid. They're missing a paycheck today. Horrible for the president and the Democrats and Republicans to do that to hardworking people, TSA agents, the people that help you fly, that help keep you safe. Yeah, they're not getting paid. And FYI, the Fed, they just got more juice. They're going to cut rates. So I outlined it. It's about the economy, earnings, and the Fed. Rinse and repeat. We've seen this before. So if you're going to tell me that the market's going to crash, that the market's going to come down, one of those three things has to prove wrong. So the economy, we saw it today. CPI, inflation's cooling. The Fed is going to use the CPI to actually juice the economy and cuts rates, which traditionally will send the stock market higher. The thing that may come down is earnings. And that's where you want to look at next week. So we've got big earnings next week. You've got Google, you've got Meta, you've got Microsoft, you've got Amazon and Apple, you've got Coinbase, you've got the oil companies. It's a big week next week. And that is going to move the markets. But again, if you journaled for 40 years like I have, and you've seen this before, it's rinse and repeat. So if you're looking 5 years out, if you're looking 1 year out, all of the data would suggest that buying now would be a good idea. And that's what I told my friend yesterday who said, hey, I've been waiting for the pullback. And she's been waiting for a long time. What was it, April? You had the opportunity to buy under the 200-day, under the 50-day. You haven't had the opportunity to buy under the 50-day since September. And yes, I bought in September. I bought more alpha picks in August. I bought the whole thing. And I want to bring up why you shouldn't follow my trades. Again, part of the reason I tell people not to follow trades is because it's your money. I got out of IREN, okay? It was up 8% yesterday. And in pre-market, It's up another 8% today. I didn't get out completely. I cut my position. I took some profits. I had journaled exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out when the 4-hour algorithm told me to get out at 55. Guess where it's trading right now? It's at 60. That's 10% that I left on the table of a 5-figure position that I got out of. I sold 5 figures of this, okay? Don't follow my trades. The October 15th alpha pick that I said that I sold for a small loss was up 5% yesterday. Again, it's all in the newsletter here. I said it yesterday. Let me pull this one up. Go down to the pod notes here. And I said, hey, here's my actions. And we went over all of the stuff. Again, I put it into the chat right here. Hey, the 9:15 podcast here, it's all in here. It's all there. These are the 3 things that I did. And the 10:15 alpha pick, the gold picks that I trimmed, they were all way up yesterday. This is why you shouldn't follow trades. It's as simple as that. I mean, it really is that easy. Make sure that you're doing your own work. And I want to point this out as too. This happens to everyone. Steve Grasso, this guy said, I'm counting on you to update us on the Q plus AI conference. I'm in very lightly because it's a SPAC. And Steve says it, in 30 plus years on Wall Street, I've never blamed anyone for a bad buy or sell. If you blame others, you shouldn't be trading. You lack the mental fortitude. This statement applies to all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to post it. Again, I got an email yesterday. I got several emails this week about stocks. One in particular asked me about PSIX. They said, hey, are you still in PSIX? Because I'm thinking of trimming it today. I wrote back, yes, I own it. I own it for a specific reason. I own it. I'm down on this one. I'm not up on this one. This one's at 83. They almost trimmed it yesterday. It's up 4%. This was at about 77 yesterday. And I hope that person didn't sell. I hope they still have it. And if they sold, I hope they journaled about this. Because it's a trade for me. It's a trade based on it being a Seeking Alpha top second half pick. So my expectations for downside are big because it's a long-term play. I was asked about several stocks the past week. I'm not being rude when I give you short answers. But if you start asking me, should I risk my money? Should I take profits? Should I do this? Should I do that? You are not journaling. Rinse and repeat. You take the risk with your own money. I can tell you, I'm okay taking the risk with your own money. If you're asking me, give me your opinion, and my opinion changes your opinion, then that's a problem because you haven't written down your risk and your reward. So that leads me to the next step of what's a good position size. Say you see something like this with CCCX and you say, oh, okay, I want to get in. Well, what's a good position size? Some folks, and let's just look at this because it has crashed a little bit. It has crashed since I brought it up. October 31st, and then you had this nice ride, and you're sitting there and you're going back up. And say you get this and you have, $5,000 in your account, and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy $1,000. The Alpha Picks portfolio, the one thing that this portfolio taught me specifically is that you put in 1% of the overall portfolio when you buy a new position. Does that work for you? Well, let me just give you, for instance, okay? Back when I started putting money into this portfolio, I put $50,000 into this in the first portfolio. I was buying the new stock picks with $500. That is significantly lower than any stock buy that I have done in the last 15 or 20 years. Significantly lower. It felt uncomfortable putting that little amount of money in. These days, I will put more money in because A, the stock portfolio has grown. That $50,000 that I started putting in last August, today, That $50,000 is somewhere near $80,000, $90,000. It is significantly up from where it was last year. Again, you can look at the performance of this portfolio. It is phenomenal. And maybe that doesn't work for you, but you better find a way. If you're just new to trading, this is why I tell you to journal. I put more money into the current picks. Why? Because they seem to have A+ setups. The gold picks that they were doing, they were up 30% within a week. Within a week, it had a good chart, and I said, I'm willing to put more money than the initial purchase in. Today, my Alpha Picks portfolio is huge. But there are no hard and fast rules on this. And if you're new and you don't know anything about position size, let me just point you towards something. It's called AI. And pick out your favorite AI. There is a box right here. Ask you anything. Say I have $5,000 in my portfolio, and I want to get into this stock. What should I risk? Have a discussion. And it's not a discussion with a douche on the internet. Ask it about position size rules. Ask it about position size. Go and ask. Go and learn. Make mistakes. And you will make mistakes. FYI, I just went over my mistakes of selling on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, these stocks were way up. So again, you will make mistakes. There is nobody in the world that is a better expert on your portfolio than you. And if you want a great portfolio, again, I've been pounding the table on this. This is a portfolio of 2 data-driven stocks. You get one on the 1st, one on the 15th. I go live on Substack and I start scalping. If it's a smaller cap stock, it will move. If it's not, then lately I've just been buying it and shutting up. And I've been fine with that. You won't always be fine with that. I took a little loss on the 10-15 pick, but it has turned around. And let's just look at some of the winners. Okay, I brought up Lending Club. I went over this many, many times. This was up 17% in the last week. Okay, let's just look at where the top of this one was yesterday. You're up 30% since the 4-hour algorithm got you in. And you may be saying, well, what's the 4-hour algorithm? Well, it's in Trendspider. This is something that I wrote that I use on a daily basis. And I brought up Lending Club many times. Lending Club right down here at 1552. I bought it. I added to my position. I had 1% of this in my portfolio. I bought it here. I said, you know what? It's down. I like this one. It's around the 200-day. We just had the golden cross. The earnings are coming out. I'm willing to take a position. Did I go? You know, I have multi-millions of dollars in my portfolio. Did I go in with $1 million? No. I position sized it correctly. And I've started to add to my position. Why? Because it's showing confirmation and they had good earnings. So I've added to my position. I didn't add after earnings because the Bollinger Band spiked up. We're seeing it run a little bit. The RSI is at 70. Risk reward. Another one that's way up over the past week, okay? My theory on this one is not just the last week, but if you had Seeking Alpha Premium, and that's this one, Seeking Alpha Premium is different than Alpha Picks. But this one was gone over in January as an Alpha Pick. January. And you had to sit there and endure going from $70, almost $80 down to $40 in April. And you said, ooh, I don't like this. Well, if you bought it in the last week, you're up 10%. If you bought it in January, you're up 124%. If you bought the dip 6 months ago in April, you're up 272%. Quality stocks, you can take more risk on because they are better. And that's why I like Seeking Alpha with the quant and Alpha Picks. You can use the two together, and that's why I point people towards this bundle. How do you get all this? Everything's on Linktree. It is down below my head. linktr.ee/daily stock pick. Trendspider is the top one. The Seeking Alpha bundle is the second one. If you want just a 7-day free trial of Seeking Alpha Premium, you can get it there. The fourth one is Alpha Picks. Then there's the newsletter. It's all there. It's all there. So let's go over some stocks that I brought up recently. Hood, which I got into. I'm up like 50% on. This one was up 5% yesterday. Still doesn't have me in on the 4-hour algorithm. I am waiting for that one. It wins 53% of the time. You can see the results down here. Do I want it to trade it? No, I want to build a position. It makes you 981% over the last 24 months versus buying and holding at 1,336. If I see a steep drop off and I see lower highs, then I'm going to look to get out of that position and lock in profits. But have I yet? No. We went over Tesla. They had their earnings. I said, hey, the stock's not going to do much. Well, it pulled back. And then it was the top Mag 7 name yesterday in the market. It pulled up. 4-hour algorithm has you in here at 443 to 447 right now. Is this going to be one of the 37% winners that actually beats buy and hold? Maybe. Your average win is 16%. I don't trust it. Again, I have my identified levels right there. And then you get to today's biggest movers. Okay? Today's biggest, it's clear. You beat earnings and you raise guidance, your stock goes up. Look at Intel. Shares gained after the company delivered a stronger than expected Q3 with both earnings and guidance beating Wall Street estimates, up 8%. And if you don't, Deckers is an example. The shares tumbled 12% despite delivering a Q2 beat. They beat, but it's a softer full year guidance. That's the problem. The market is priced for perfection. Even Newmont down 7%. This is one of the leading stocks. It went in hot into this earnings, and Newmont's down 7%. Why? Look at this run up. The 4-hour algorithm just got you out right before earnings. Boy, aren't you thankful for the 4-hour algorithm getting you out with a 41% gain because you're starting to go down. Look at a weekly chart of this. Your RSI 76. This candle is down 5%. Does this mean gold is bad? No. It just means this particular stock, They delivered Q3 earnings, revenue beat above expectations as lower production kept the miner from fully benefiting from record gold prices. Again, that's a problem. You've got to perform perfectly in this market. Now, some of the names that are going up are ones that I want to get into. Jane Street reveals 5% stake in Bitcoin miners. It's CIFR, Bitfarm, and others. That's a big move. And Daniel Newman is basically telling you, hey, it's more looking like the recent weakness in these names are because people wanted to attack them and bring the prices down. They wanted to push out people who are scared. I was one of them, IREN, because again, I went over, I sold half my position, but I sold half of it. I'm still in half of it. So as it starts to rise, I can buy it on the 4-hour algorithm. Again, I have a very clear strategy, as most people should. I didn't get scared out of this because of weak hands. I got scared out of this because, hey, I'm locking in profits. I bought down here at 17. This is up 241%. I am perfectly happy with a 200% gain. Am I upset that I sold at 55 when the stock is trading at 60? Not really, because I'll get back in. And what's a good strategy to do that? Well, I went into here. I didn't know what to type into Sidekick. This is Trendspider's AI platform. It's Sidekick.
So
it went into Perplexity because you only get 25 Sidekick messages per month. And I wanted to say, hey, I want to ask Trendspider Sidekick to find me a strategy for trading CIFR stock. Can you help me write a prompt that will help it find a strategy? I'd like to focus on moving averages and indicators along with known catalysts like news or earnings. Ask me any questions you need to know before proceeding. And it did. And then it gave me the prompt to put in there. And so I went back here and I said, I just copy and pasted. Very simple. Understand the tools that you have. And it gave me the entire entry strategy, find swing profits, RSI divergence, MACD crossover entry, Bollinger Band squeeze, timing around earnings, pre-earnings run-up, post-earnings dump, exit timing, when the EMA-based exit, when the 9-day for the short term, when the price closes below it. On high volume, that's your warning to take profits. Currently around $16. Profit taking before earnings. MACD divergence exit. It gave me the complete strategy, entry and exit. Now, I've got a little problem with Trendspider. It gives you all of this information. But the YOLO advice, if you follow this strategy, you might actually make money instead of blowing up your account like usual. But since this is Wall Street Bets style advice, because I chose the Wall Street Bets prompt, you'll probably YOLO your life savings. Remember, this is a highly volatile play. Cypher can move 10% in a day. Without stop losses, you're basically playing Russian roulette with 5 bullets in the chamber, but that's how we roll. And I asked it to write me a strategy, and it didn't. So I have a question into Trendspider. You can use contact us down here. And that's what I did. I am just like you. That's the power of AI. I like it. I like it. And I went over quantum stocks. I get questions about IONQ and all of these high flyers and blah, blah, blah. I went over them yesterday. My picks, Microsoft and Google. Well, IBM is a big quantum player as well. Has revenues and a proven business model. And this is pushing AMD up in pre-market 3%. Again, another good buy that I had. But you have to use the tools that you have in front of you. And if you don't have these tools, again, the tools that I have are available to you. For many, many years, I didn't use these tools. But I want to give you a free tool, okay? Because I was talking with a listener yesterday and he said, hey, is there a way that Grok can give me kind of a watch list? So I went to Perplexity. I'm not a big fan of Grok. I like talking to Grok. I don't like Grok's answers on a lot of stuff. But I said to Perplexity, can you help me prompt Grok AI to find me the top most mentioned stock symbols on Twitter within the past 24 hours? Said, sure, here's a prompt. And it gave me some suggestions as well, because I want to create a watch list. Here's the Grok answer. Based on analysis of recent X postings from trading and investment-focused accounts, the following ranked list highlights the most frequently mentioned stocks. You can see Tesla, AMD, NVIDIA. Create a watch list. Put these on a watch list for yourself. Put them into Seeking Alpha and create a portfolio. Here, I have my watch list for 2025. These are the stocks that I put in January that I wanted to look at. And we can look at some. Let me see if I don't have my view too. Year-to-date performance. This is my watch list from January, and it's STX, it's NEM, it's Palantir, it's GE, HWM. Look at these stock gains. All of them up 20% to 162% year-to-date. I didn't use AI. But this is going to be a new watch list for me. I will start putting some of these in. I have Grok emailing me every day with what are the most talked about stocks. It's good. Again, that's how you do it. Use the tools in front of you. I am no genius by any stretch of the imagination. My tools that I have, Trendspider, Seeking Alpha Premium, and Alpha Picks. Again, get any annual Trendspider plan, anyone. $52 a month for this one. $52 a month. And you get a free one-on-one training course with a product expert from Trendspider. But again, I'm just like you. I have to use this contact us button, and I put it down there and I said, hey, Sidekick's not giving me what I'm expecting. Can you help me? And they will help you. That's part of the reason why I'm with Trendspider. I love their support. But the three tools that I would get is Trendspider and then Premium and Alpha Picks. And that allows me to put together. And if you don't get these, it's not like you're not doing, you're doing something wrong. For years. I just started using these in 2020. And I've been able to outperform the S&P a lot during this time. This year, I'm not outperforming the S&P. Why? I know why. It's because of Apple. Apple year to date, by the way, we can look at this. Apple year to date, it's up 4%, 3.66%. What's the S&P up? Let's just track it against the S&P. The S&P year to date up 14%. If 50% of my portfolio is in Apple and I'm coming close year to date to the S&P, I'm not beating it. That means the rest of my portfolio, which is heavy in Alpha Picks, is really outpacing the S&P. Again, the tools that I have allow me to do this, and I'm not smarter than you. I'm just somebody who has been able to figure out how to use these tools. And if you have tools that are working for you, then use them. If they're not working for you, then look at these, because even Seeking Alpha Premium comes with a free 7-day membership. And Trendspider, you can go and use it for 14 days for as little as like what you'll pay for a burrito at Chipotle. Again, find the tools that work for you. If you have any questions, hit me up. Everything is here on Linktree, even my email address. I'll talk to you Monday. Bye.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell.